This is PowerWash Simulator. This is another in the long list of games that I've played because they were recommended by Alice Bell on the Electronic Wireless Show. And honestly, I'm not huge into like career simulator games. I've never gotten into like the truck driving simulator games or anything like that. So my expectations are very low for this game. But you know what? Like I'm having a great time. This is actually one of the best games I've found for playing during a boring meeting. Uh where I need to know I need to be able to absorb the information in the meeting, but no one's looking for me to actually participate. This is a really great thing to be doing with my hands while that's going on. So I managed to clean most of this skate park during a meeting today, which made me feel pretty good. This place started out absolutely trashed, and now it is beautiful and pristine and ready for skateboarders that will never come. It will be sad and derelict forever, regardless of all of my efforts cleaning it. But you don't want to see a clean place. You're watching a Power Wash Simulator video so that you can see a dirty place. So let's find a new level. Let's go and clean the shoe house. So yeah, there's some story behind it. Like, I'm like this guy who's trying to start up a power washing business, and everything's got a story behind it, a reason for it. I'm not going to pay any attention to that. I just want to clean a shoe. So let's clean a shoe together, everybody. All right, so here we are. It looks like most of the things in this level are already clean. We're not going to be power washing a sandbox because that's just this sand is very, it's like concrete. How is a kid supposed to play in this? Okay, whatever. This is all, backdrop to this item here. This lovely shoe house, which is filthy and covered. It looks like it's covered in moss along the heel and along the sole down here. Luckily, I don't think I'm capable of destroying these flowers, which is good. So my goal is to obviously get this entire thing clean. Let me introduce you to sort of the rules here. So every object in this world that needs to be cleaned is listed in this list, which means this will help you not miss things. Because it would be very frustrating to get the map 99% clean and have no idea what item you missed. So everything is discreetly broken up into items, which are listed, and you get paid individually for them. Which is like, it's also nice because you can sort of get partway through a level, decide you're tired of that one for a little bit, switch levels, and it just keeps up with all of the money that you've earned with individual objects. Also, the fact that everything is divided into individual objects. In fact, let me get up close and let me just start cleaning this porthole here. You see that when you get a certain amount of the item clean, it flashes and just finishes cleaning itself. So you usually get like 99% of the stuff off it, and then it just takes care of the rest of it for you. So it does get to be 100% pristine by the end, and you don't necessarily have to find every pixel of dirt, which is good and more satisfying than actually real life with a power washer, where you can make mistakes and not realize it until, I don't know, somebody points it out. So we've got a handful of people in the chat here, by the way. Raneth Cord, Tandalense, La Coalition, and Rosenberg are here. That's So Praven showed up and said, I've gotten way back into State of Decay 2 recently, mostly surviving in Nightmare, though I did lose a Red Talon operator over the weekend. Oh, sorry to hear you're losing characters. Luckily, this game does not have permadeath, which is really good, because, man, this would not be an activity worth dying for, in my mind. Now, it's interesting for me as a game developer to sort of play this game and figure out how it works. So, like, if I back off a ways, actually, let me switch nozzles. So I can use the right bumper and left bumper to switch back and forth between different nozzles. This is my cleaning solution nozzle. I'm almost out of cleaning solution, which makes things go away quickly at a cost. I have to pay money for this stuff. This is actually one of my favorites. This is the spinny one. Makes little holes, little donuts. It helps you cover a wider area with a high-intensity shot. So basically, but most of the other ones, this red one, this is just a beam of water, basically. But the orange, green, and white are just different levels of diffusion. So that's orange. That's green. And that's white. White doesn't even reach that far. So really, honestly, these three are kind of the same. The question is really how close you are to your target. Because if I get up close, you know, the white works just fine. And the orange is just... So basically the orange from back here is practically the same as the white from up here. So these three nozzles are just about how far away I am. But it's been interesting sort of like dragging my my hose across this and saying, okay, it looks like the way it works is... Now, I'm firing the visible water that you see on the screen, but it looks like they're actually firing a lot of invisible pellets, almost like a shotgun blast, and each pellet that hits has a certain, like, intensity and a certain amount of, like, damage that it does to the dirt. And so... and that really depends on how far it has to travel, and also like what intensity it's leaving the nozzle at. So it's like I think that each pellet leaves the nozzle at a certain intensity and loses intensity with distance. So that by the time it hits, depending on how close you are or how intense it was to begin with, it will do a certain amount of cleaning. You'll notice that moss from back here takes longer to go away than the black dirt. The black dirt goes away really fast. It doesn't take a lot of effort at all. But the moss takes more effort. And so it's kind of cool because and see, even the black dirt from this distance is taking a while. But I'll make the black dirt go away faster than the moss will go away. So there's like a texture to this that feels very authentic. You know, it feels like, oh yeah, like when I've power washed things, some stuff goes away easily, and some stuff you gotta like dig in there with a high intensity thing, get real up close and personal, and just make the thing go away. And so that extra texture sort of makes this feel a little closer to sort of the real experience. Also, like the vibration in my hands, the sound design. I deliberately turned up the sound a little louder than I usually have it, so that you can hear it, because the sound is a huge part of what makes this experience work. So you can see in the upper left, whenever I point my cursor at, it lists the item. So boot wall, for instance, is a huge item that encompasses most of the surface of this thing. It probably... Okay, there's two different boot walls. There's a boot wall here and a boot wall here. There's probably multiple boot walls, actually, that I can complete separately. But you can sort of see there's a little white... Like, if I take this boot wall here, there's a little white bar that's telling me how much of the boot wall that I've completed, above the words multipurpose and below the words boot wall. And so once I finish the boot wall, you see that white bar is going down, and when it gets to 0, when it gets to nothing, I've completed the boot wall. Now, if I hit the right, or go right on the D-pad, all of the remaining dirt glows. Now, in bright sunlight against an orange surface, this can actually be very difficult to see. But, so it's not, I don't know, I wonder if there's a way for me to change the way that sort of highlight shows up. Because there's definitely settings where, like the skate park I just did, the pavement in the bright sunlight did not look any different when I turned on the orange highlight. And so I had a lot of trouble actually finishing up the floor because of that. Okay, so this boot wall, see, this is where the game can get a little bit frustrating sometimes, because as you can, as I pointed out before, you don't have to get 100% of the dirt off something. I'm pretty sure that each object has got a threshold, has got its own threshold that you have to hit while you're cleaning it in order to make it sort of flash and ding and be done. But sometimes I feel like they've set those percentages a little bit off for a given item, like this boot wall, for instance. There is some dirt left on it somewhere, and I am not finding it. Could it be... Oh, is it under here? There it was. Okay, yeah, so this boot wall, I could see, because there's that little tiny bit of dirt that could be easy to miss, I could see wanting to set the percentage on this a little bit lower than it was. And then there's some other ones where it's like, I will clearly have a lot of dirt left in a big chunk, but I'll have hit the percentage on that item, and it will just flash away, and that will also be unsatisfying. So this is kind of a little bit of a balancing nightmare, honestly, for the developers. Finding the exact right percentage, that's the right percentage of completion where players will feel like, yes, I totally cleaned that. And they'll feel like they're being rewarded for their actual accomplishment. while avoiding that sense of, you know, like, wait, I feel like I've done everything. Like, you don't want a situation where somebody's like, oh, I feel like I've done everything, but it hasn't given me credit yet. And you also don't want to give them the experience where I didn't really do that. I got rewarded, but I didn't actually get to do all the power washing I wanted to do with that thing. Both of those are less optimal experiences, and so you're trying to tune against that. And it's difficult. So, like, you know, I'm complaining about it a little bit, but I'm acknowledging, like, whoever's working on this, it can't be easy to figure out the exact percentage, partly just because, you know, like, if I could leave this big streak of dirt here on the wall, clean everything else off on this boot wall, and that's one way to sort of, like, get close but to the completion percentage but not quite make it. But another way is to leave tiny little individual pixels all over the boot. And it must be hard to set a numerical value that will that will be satisfying for both there's extra pixels all over the boot versus, you know, there's just one highly visible chunk of dirt pixels left. So this is a challenging game to make, and I think that it's probably easy not to give, because this game is simulating something so sort of like normal and pedestrian, it'd be very easy to think of this, oh, well, this must be easy. Any problems I find with it mean that somebody sucks, you know, but that's not how this works. This game is as challenging to make as any other game. Okay, yeah, so I think this window frame here has got just a little bit. There we go. So you do have a jump, which is nice. Oh, yeah, you see these, like, stains here that are really... Okay, yeah, they're a little bit more stubborn. Actually, one way that I could show you more stubborn stains is to... So I've got an extension on my power washer. If I take that extension off, I've got a lot less range. And so I can show you, you know, it's more easily to see things like, you know, I can soak off a lot of the dirt, but you can see this sort of like gray crust that's sticking around afterwards. They've actually got different categories of stain. In fact, I think you can see them. Oops. I think you can see them if you... Oh, yeah, right here. There are surface stains, encrusted, embedded, tough, stubborn, ingrained, and oily stains. Different kinds of stains that different power washers are better at handling. When you upgrade your power washer, you basically get all of those values get better. They don't have different power washers that are like, this one's good at oil, but this one's good at crust. Partly because power washers, I mean, the actual washer is just about the amount of power that's coming out of the hose. That's kind of it. And so it wouldn't feel realistic to have them be better at one thing or another. Let me put my extension back on because it extends my range a lot and therefore my power. Take this stuff off. What? What? It sent me a message. The person who hired me just sent me a message that says, you got a stinky butt. What do you bet? That's actually one of her kids sending me that. I've heard that the storytelling in this game is actually pretty good for people who are nice and pay attention to it instead of being me, being a garbage person who ignores lore all the time. Rosenberg says that fighting zombies with a power washer might actually be kind of fun. So this game, as far as I understand, this game actually does get kind of surreal sometimes. I don't know if the surreal stuff is only like is actually part of the story, or if it's just in the sort of the bonus missions. But like, for instance, I know that cleaning like one of the Mars rovers is one of the is one of the missions, and you've also got missions that are set in like Lara Croft's mansion. And stuff like that. So it's definitely not all of it is completely just like pedestrian, realistic. These are jobs you do when you have a power washing business. There's a lot in here that is a little bit more than that. So I don't think they're going to have AI. So I don't think they're going to have like zombies to fight. But it would be kind of funny actually if they did like a crime scene cleanup or something like that, though I think that maybe, I don't know, that might change their rating. I think that they are probably enjoying the fact that they've got a not very restrictive rating. So, Tandalense is saying that he understands that sound is an important part of this game, but It might give you a migraine after a while. So have I got the sound a little bit too loud? Because I'm happy to turn it down a little bit if it would be annoying. Now that you've sort of heard what it sounds like to be doing this, I'm happy to sort of make it quieter if that would help. All right. Let's see. So... Oh, so Zach of Mars says, "Oh, look, he's playing the game that I play to relax before bed." Yeah, so that is another really good way to use it. This is a game that you can play while extremely tired. You don't actually have to be like at the top of your game, and there's nothing you can lose. You know, there's only forward progress in this game. So like, you know, sometimes I want to play sort of a nice relaxing game, and something like Project Zomboid, I'm interested in playing it because a lot of what you do in Project Zomboid is just sort of like moving things around, making dinner, doing sort of like day-to-day stuff. And it's really easy to sort of want to get into a game like that when I'm really tired, because a lot of it is sort of relaxing. But because one mistake can actually like ruin your day in that game, it's not actually great to play when you're tired. I always want to be like at the absolute top of my game when I'm playing it. And so this is nice because like you can't mess things up. You can only make forward progress, and the only thing the only messing up you could do is just taking too long because you couldn't figure out how to clean a particular thing. So I'm just getting all up in this. I'm gonna switch to a lighter washer here so that at close range. There we go. So at close range I can get more coverage. There we go. Getting these windows. So if you're not sure if you fully cleaned something, you can always just point your cursor at it, and if that bar in the upper left corner is empty, then you've already taken care of it. But yeah, so this works up close at kind of sort of light stains, but you can see like it is not doing hardly anything to this moss. I think if I point at the moss for a really long time, it does something. But like, I think one thing I can do, let's get some stone cleaner. Oh, wait, the cleaner's not attached. Right, let me switch to the cleaner. And then I'm going to get some stone cleaner. Stone, metal, here we go. And then I'm going to point the stone cleaner at the stone. And look at that. The moss is just going away. Now you can see in the lower left corner, I'm running out of stone cleaner. And this cost me money. And so deciding to use the stone cleaner instead of the power of the power washer is a choice. It's an economic choice that you can make. And notice that it doesn't work nearly as well on other surfaces. The wood and the sort of like multi-purpose whatever surface, the miscellaneous surface, they don't respond nearly as well to the stone cleaner. It has a little bit of an effect, but not as much. And so you have to sort of like buy the different cleaners, make sure you're using the right one for the right job, which is it's just a cute little detail, which sort of accurately represents what you would actually be thinking about if you were trying to power wash this stuff. I'm surprised that the cleaner does like basically just completely dissolve the stain with no power. I kind of expected it to loosen the stains, maybe turn them into a white foam or something, and then still have me power wash the stains away. Because I think that's a little closer to reality from watching a bunch of power washing videos on YouTube, revealing a little bit too much about my interests there. But I've watched a lot of power washing videos on YouTube. One actually power washing experience that's kind of fun that the game is not replicating is like herding mud. Like when you've got like, needing to sort of like, you loosen the dirt with your water, but it goes somewhere and you have to sort of make sure that it goes into some kind of drainage, rather than just sticking around in puddles and just becoming mud puddles later on. This game does not simulate mud as a fluid. Basically, mud is a surface that you remove with your power washer. Let's see, okay, the stairs. Okay, yeah, so these stairs and this railing, I'm not doing a great job yet. By the way, notice that just like Dead Space, you can, there you go, you can flip the direction of your little line there, back and forth. It gives me all these like weird positive Dead Space memories. I think I need to crouch down to get under this. There we go. That's the dirt I'm missing. Railings in particular, because they're three-dimensional and they're round, it's like, it's really easy to just miss a little bit on a railing. Just like, oh, I thought I got everything because I felt like I did every side, but there's one tiny little shred that I didn't get to. Bambi Bambi asks, why is there always a gnome? I don't know if there's always a gnome, but they do have like, they do have little like physics toys that you can play with. So I think that's what the gnome is. I wonder if this bucket, yes, this bucket also has physics. Yes. Oh yeah, causing chaos. Haha. I'm a bad person. So yeah, so this basically laser beam of water is useful for cleaning things that you can't reach at long distances, and it's also useful for getting off extremely tough stains. But because its coverage is so low, it's a really inefficient way to clean something big. Like, as fun as, you know, water lasers are, it's much easier to use this. I keep forgetting what each button does. It doesn't take that much diffusion to make a huge difference. Oh yeah, by the way, Peroxicus and other folks, you absolutely can ask State of Decay 2 questions anytime you want to. I want a yogurt tube. Okay, so that's... Yes. So, Mother Hubbard has got too many children, and her children are all sending me texts, which is great. I'm trying to jump. Okay, that's going poorly. Let's learn... Oh no, Johnny bit me. Oh no. So let's learn how furniture works. So I'm going to take this piece of furniture right here, move it, get up on top of it, and now I can reach this. There we go. Oh, yeah, so Peroxicus says, have you ever been playing and seen Cash Beaumont running either up the street or through a field? I swear I turned on my last playthrough, and he was just trotting up the street in Spencer's Mill. I recorded it. Yeah, so I'm not sure what causes that. We have noticed that bug on the team. Basically, when a character lives in an enclave, their default idle behavior is to be at home. And the expectation is also that they will spawn at home. And so normally what happens is they spawn at home, and then you find them. And when you go there, you find them there, and it's just fine. They immediately arrive at home. They immediately are like, yes, I am in the right place. And so they don't move. Or they just wander around at home in different locations. But occasionally, for some reason, an Enclave member will not spawn at home. They'll spawn in a random place in the map. And as a result, the first thing they do when they first arrive, they're like, oh, I'm supposed to be at home. And they just start walking home. And so that's when you see the bounty broker doing that, that's what's going on for some mysterious reason that we do not know the answer to. He spawned across the map from his home. And so the only thing he knows how to do at that point is try to get there. But so it's particularly inconvenient for him, though, because... You know, it's not like he usually, I mean, except for we've got a bug about it, but he's not supposed to have a mission most of the time. So there's nothing directing you to him. So if he's just not at home, then he's just not at home, and there's very little you can do about it. So it's a weird, annoying bug. I don't know what causes it. And it's one of those things where it's like, because it happens so randomly, like, we can't just make it happen. We can't be like, okay, let's make spawn, Cash spawn halfway across the map so we can figure out why and fix him. Because we don't know why he does it in the first place, and so we can't just make it happen. And so it's one of those types of bugs where it's just inherently really, really hard to solve because it's really, really hard to replicate. Like, it happens so randomly and so rarely that all we can do is just sort of, like, hope it happens when one of us is in a situation where we can catch it. But, and then actually examine what happened, and maybe there's a debug output for it. Maybe there isn't. I don't know. So, I chose this house because I figured it was going to be a fairly small job, would have plenty of time to get it done. I'm actually genuinely not sure we're going to now. Maybe I should have chosen the golf cart instead, because the golf cart is smaller, but I guess we'll have to see. There we go, got the glass. I mean, I guess I could just try to do just a really quick once-over of the entire thing. And then see how clean that gets, and then switch to, like, the laser to get off the tough stuff. So yeah, let's just get as much of the simple raw dirt off this thing as we can. And then see what parts of it are going to take a little bit longer. Like the moss at the bottom. Oh, actually, no, that's not coming off too badly, actually. It's taking a little bit more effort than the dirt, but not by a huge amount. The number of times when something has been mysteriously not clean and the solution has been for me to just get really low down to the ground and clean it from underneath, that happens an awful lot. There we go. So yeah, folks are still talking about weird behaviors by characters in State of Decay. Zombies just said that, you know, they had a character say that they just found some stuff while they were out, while they were standing right next to them. Yeah, that we made those missions, but we didn't actually have the tools to determine, or I guess we probably did have the tools to check to see if you were right next to them, but it would have been, it's not really what those tools were made for. We would have had to use them in kind of a convoluted way, and so we didn't. So yeah, you can totally, if you're paying attention to your community members, sometimes they will absolutely pretend that they just went on a resource gathering mission when you've been standing there watching them the entire time and you know that they didn't. So, I don't know. In the future, I would love to have moments like that actually have a little bit more, like, fidelity to the real world of, like, what the characters are actually doing, rather than just sort of pretending things are happening that they're not. But, I mean, that is one of the benefits of, you know, low visual fidelity games like, say, Project Zomboid or RimWorld, is that it's easier to sort of say things are happening without needing to make them happen. Now, that particular thing about a character moving across the world, that's the kind of thing that normally Zomboid or RimWorld actually would simulate. But there's, you know, but there's a lot of, you know, basically, you try to find the things that, you know, you can get away with in a game. You can get away with faking verbally without necessarily actually having to really do them in the game world. And that's an area where oftentimes, you know, designers can sort of, like, use those moments to sort of fill in gaps and make stuff happen without necessarily having to engage the entire extremely busy team in making the thing happen. Not having to make new AI and new animations and new, you know, stuff like that to make a character actually do a thing. If you can sort of lie and pretend that they did a thing without needing to sort of incur the cost of derailing other people on the team and getting them to implement something for you, that's just, I don't know. Especially when you're getting on towards the end of a development cycle and you're like, I want this game to be more interesting and complicated, but everyone's busy and is scheduled out to the end of the development cycle, then you're like, you just start making crap up like that. And I think it often makes the game better, actually, if you can sort of forgive the game being a little bit lower fidelity because there's some fakery involved. I think overall the game can really benefit from stuff like that. All right, so this ladder is something I can climb, though. Okay, but when I'm climbing a ladder, actually, I'm getting really, really close, and I probably don't need this long extension. So I'm going to swap it out for a shorter extension. This still gives me a little bit of extra power and distance, but doesn't interfere with my ability to do close-in work. Because if you get too close to something, your character will actually sort of retract their hand and, you know, not hold their... I almost said their weapon. Not hold their power washer out any further, and they won't be able to use the power washer. So I'm assuming there's a way for me to get up onto the roof of this thing. I don't know what that way is exactly. And some of this stuff is incredibly dirty, which makes it extra satisfying to clean. Rosenberg asks if I intend to check out Redfall next month. Yes, I absolutely do. In fact, I suspect that's probably a game that my coworkers and I, when we do our sort of like Friday co-ops, oh gosh, when we do our Friday co-op sessions, I'm betting that one's going to make the list. That's the kind of game that we try to play together to sort of keep an eye on what co-op experiences are like in the industry. Funny, there was actually a time, a long time ago, when we were talking about, like, what other games could we make that are not State of Decay? And a game very much like Redfall was one of the pitches that we discussed. And, we decided that we were going to continue doing State of Decay, and so we didn't go in that direction. But it's kind of cool to see, other studios having similar ideas and see what they did with them, which is, Redfall obviously is going to be really different from whatever Undead Labs would have made along those lines if we had decided to go in that direction. And Arcane is really, really good at making just sort of crazy innovative, like very player responsive type games, things where you feel like you have a lot of control over the outcome, over like, what, on how things play out. And so I'm really interested in seeing what they did with it, because what they did with did with the idea of like a co-op monster hunting sort of experience is very different from what we would have done if we had decided to go that direction. And so I'm really curious to see what they did. Okay, there we go. Okay, I think I might need to go a little bit. Okay, man, cleaning at this range is really rough. Oh, wait a minute. I'm betting that's what that scaffold is for. That maybe I don't need to be getting this up close and personal. Maybe I can be climbing up here instead. So because you need so much precise control, the camera, the sort of speed at which the camera rotates is really, really slow. Okay, let's switch back to our long extension and go with our tighter spread here. Bampy says, how's he holding onto the ladder? Not much health and safety going on over here. Bampy, are you from the UK? I feel like I hear the phrase health and safety from people in the UK way more often than I hear that phrase from Americans. Is that just sort of the UK term for that sort of like when an American talks about an OSHA violation? I think that's when somebody from the UK talks about health and safety. Health and safety is just a name for the sort of class of rules that's about what you're allowed to ask people to do at a workplace. Okay, yes, Bampy confirms that they are in fact from the UK, so cool. It doesn't matter. Like I definitely was not saying you have to use the US term when you're talking to me or anything like that. But it's just I'm fascinated by sort of the jargon differences between the UK and the US. I listen to a lot of podcasts and things from the UK. Oh wow, that's so far down for me. I could just get lower, but I think maybe yes, I can get it with my water laser. There we go. Again, don't have to get it perfect, which is nice. Like for instance, I think somebody that I follow from the UK just posted a it had to do with like sort of voter identification. They posted something about Oyster cards. And I was like, the heck is an Oyster card? And I assume that's some kind of thing in the UK. But for me, I just assumed that what it meant was that if you have a card that gives you unlimited free oysters, that's what I decided it meant. I'm probably wrong about that. Can I jump? Yes! Yes, I can. I can jump over here. Okay, so now we'll clean with this. Well, maybe we'll clean with that. Oh, okay. So Bampy says the Oyster card. Okay, it's a Metro Pass basically. Okay, so it's like I've got an Orca card. The Orca card is the one for the Seattle area, and they say that's actually for the London Underground. your Oyster card is like your pass. So okay, so that makes sense. Yeah, I don't remember what I think Orca stands for something, but also we have orcas in this area, and so somebody was being very clever by giving us. So apparently, I don't know. Is London famous for its oysters, or is it just? Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna get this roof clean. We're gonna get it clean. I'm missing some little bits here. So Micro Retro showed up and says, "Oh, there we go. See that one." I felt like that fired a little bit too early. I really clearly could see the remaining dirt. I wanted to clean a little bit more off the roof manually before losing it. But yeah, again, like this is a very weird and sensitive thing to try to tune. And there's probably scenarios where I could have haphazardly cleaned this roof and felt like I had done a good job, but actually, you know, like would have relied on that sort of more forgiving cleaning percentage to make it satisfying. Okay, so I've done the top of the roof. Okay. So let's see what else I'm missing. Okay, so, the underside of the roof. Right here. So we got 15 minutes to my next meeting. I'm pretty sure we can do it, but you never quite know with PowerWash Simulator. Sometimes there'll just be little stubborn bits of dirt that are really hard to get to. So I'm using this because the laser is just a little bit too narrow. Like it takes forever to use it because it's so narrow. This gives you just a little bit more coverage. Means it's easier to use from a distance. It's easier to sort of like clean large surfaces from a distance with this thing than it is with the laser. There we go. Okay, so this wall. Okay, I'm still missing a fair amount. It must be, yeah, there's some dirt tucked up underneath that wall, the roof on that side of the wall. Okay, this one looks like I already got most of. And we'll grab this under the roof bit here. I don't think I necessarily need to be up here to be cleaning this. I can probably do that from Geronimo from the bottom. Let's see. Yes, I can. And there's that little chunk of wall I was missing. So I appreciate the fact that they separated the roof underside from the top of the roof. They don't always do that, but in this case, the position from which I'm cleaning the roof and the position from which I'm cleaning the underside of the roof are so different, and it takes so much effort to switch between them. It would be kind of annoying if I had to, if I didn't know if I was done with one side before I switched to the other. Okay, it looks like I should have stayed up to deal with this window, though. So I might need to go back up to deal with this window. Unless, maybe that's something that I could more easily do with a ladder? So it looks like we are 96% complete, but that last 4% is a significant amount of the work. There we go. And then a little bit here. Oh, there's a bunch of kind of invisible dirt. Sometimes the dirt will fade out enough that you really can't see it. And you'll be... Yeah, and you'll be left... Oh, here we go. And you'll be left, like, uncertain. Like, if we didn't have that dirt highlighting ability, I'm not sure how you would ever figure out where the missing dirt was. So that dirt highlighting ability, it was a really, really good move. And I'm sure it helps with the accessibility, too, for low vision players. Okay, so I think... Okay, so because I've got the extension on, I can't use it at close range. Let's take off the extension. And let's just do some jumping. Yeah, this is how you power wash right here. Bouncing like a frog. Ribbit. 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 Okay, so this wall says it's not fully clean. Yeah, I've got little tiny bits up here. We're about to get a alert about my next meeting. Unfortunately, there's no half-assing this job. Like, here's some... There we go. Like, the game knows if you've completed things or not. Okay, so now we're at the stage where... there's my alert for the meeting. Now we're at the stage where I'm not dead certain which things remain to be cleaned. I think that there's a little bit on that, but here's what you do when you get to the very end. You look at your list, and then you highlight things on the list. And when you come back, the things that aren't fully clean... Now, this is subtle because I chose the boot walls. And they've got kind of a bright color to them. But they're slowly pulsating to tell you that they're not... That they're the basically all the ones that are not fully clean yet pulsate. Oh, here's something. It looks like most of the boot walls are actually not fully clean yet. But unfortunately... Okay, yeah, so this trim here definitely needs to be cleaned still. So this feels like the stage where you call over the boss and you're like, hey, I'm done. And then they're like, oh, really? Are you? And then they start telling you all the things that you missed. So this is that phase of that job. Okay, yeah, so there's a little tiny bit of invisible dirt right there. Oh, and there's just a little bit of dirt on the top of this. And I can see that very subtle glow right here. A little bit of invisible dirt there, a little bit of invisible dirt there. There we go. And then this one is also glowing, but I can't... There's a little bit at the edge there. Oh, there's some up here. Okay, ladder time. Peroxica says, if they let the outside of this house get this dirty, what in the world is going on inside the bathroom? Yeah, no, absolutely. I hope that there's a bathroom for me to clean at some point. That sounds amazing. Okay, so we got that done. How are we doing on... We still got 2 more boot walls. I'm never quite sure how to get out of the menus in this game. Okay, so this one and this one. Oh, I see. Right in there. There we go. Right in the little hole. And this just needs to be lovingly sprayed. There we go. Oh, and there's still some crap around the bottom of this. There we are. Okay. Let's look at our list now. The door frame is a 96% clean, but not 100%. Okay, yeah, there's just little bits, especially in the corners. There we go. What's left? Eyelets. There's one eyelet that I missed. Which eyelet is it? This one. All right. What else? Walls? Oh, it's probably that left wall up there. Yeah, it's that one. Okay. Yeah, it's hard to get close enough to it. Let me try. Oh, that is just really hard to reach. How did I do the other one? I guess the other one was easier to see from the scaffold. Come on, there's not that much left. Just give it to me. Give it to me. Come on, I'm just going to give everything a thorough clean. I'm just like, is there some big chunk of dirt that I just didn't see that I'm missing? Yeah, this is where the game gets weird sometimes, because I'm like, yeah, there's little tiny, like, individual pixels of dirt on this thing now. Like, is it set to 100%? Am I required to, like, nail every single pixel of dirt on this wall? Looks like maybe there's something on the front corner. Oh, wait, can I... Hold on a second. I can pull the ladder up and do that? Oh, that's neat. Okay, but what is up with this thing? Yeah, so this is where I feel like sometimes the game kind of breaks down a little bit. Because this, I think there must just be some percentage. Unless, wait, does this wall somehow persist like above? No, it can't persist above the roof, can it? I mean, unless it considers the... Is the back part of the house also that same... The back part is also the same wall. Okay, that I hadn't realized. I thought that each wall was its own object, but no, there's the back part of the house that also counts as the same wall. And also, I guess the left wall counts as the same wall. All right, so let's spinny laser this thing. I think so. The tank was the one who suggested that I look at the back wall, and I appreciate that because I think the tank is right. Okay, so yeah, it's over there on the left side. Okay, well, let's grab this thing. I've got 3 minutes. This is a race against time. There we go. Got it. Okay, what's left? What's left? What's left? 3 things. One of the windows, one of the window boxes, one of the window frames. 2 of the window frames. So which window is it? That one. One of the window boxes. Which window box is it? This one. Good, it's a ground level one. So little dirt inside the lip there. All right. Window frames. And you notice it starts listing them on the left side. And these 2 window frames. Lots of invisible dirt on these guys. Of course, the fact they've got wood grain is probably part of the problem, right? Because it's easy for dirt to look like wood grain and vice versa. Ugh, am I going to need a ladder? I think I am. Oh, there we go. Some obvious dirt there and there and there. There we go. And now the last thing to highlight. The wooden... There are 2 wooden trims. These little things. Come on. Glow. Glow, you dumb trims. Ah, this one? Probably along the top edge. And last piece. Last piece. Oh, it's up there. Ah, dang it. Okay, okay. Let's go up the scaffolding one more time. I've got 1 minute left. Oh, and it's so hard to rotate. Rotating is so slow. Okay. Job complete. We did it. Oh, okay. So now that we've completed that, we can watch a little... I love this, by the way, just watching myself, like, you know, go around the whole thing cleaning up. This is very satisfying. And there we go. We have completed it. So now they've unlocked some new stuff. So not only do I have the golf cart that I had before, but now there's a vintage car and a forest cottage. Looks like there's probably a witch living there. So there's a lot of fun stuff to do in the future. But for right now, I have got to get out of here. But this is a really fun game. I am super into this. And again, it's great to play while you're doing other things because it doesn't take 100% of your attention. It just takes that sort of like physical, spatial part of your brain, which is a lot of fun. So anyway, yeah, so sorry if I missed anything in the chat, which, I mean, I almost assuredly did because I can't catch up with it because I have to go. But there's a subscribe button and links to other videos. I'm going to try to hit up Resident Evil 4 this week. So hopefully we'll find a day when I have more time and we can get into that. So I'll see you all then. Goodbye.